Students, welcome to Sunil's tutorial. I'm Sunil Nirmani and today we'll be doing this chapter called as genetic basis of inheritance. Let's see what is incomplete dominance. Let's understand what is incomplete dominance. Now, incomplete dominance, Mendel's law of dominance is not true for all organisms. There have been examples in which characters are neither dominant nor recessive. Mendel's law of dominance says that either when there is a cross between a dominant and recessive character in the F1 generation, you will get the dominant character, and in the F2 generation, you will get both the dominant, either you will get the dominant character or the recessive character. But there have been characters which are neither dominant nor are they recessive, but they are mixed. They are expressed as mixed or blend or intermediate expression, that also in the F1 generation, right? So when both the characters are expressed, the expression of of a trait of two pure parents as an intermediate condition in the F1 hybrid is called as incomplete dominance. Fine, do we get this in here? Where the dominant character is not able to suppress the recessive character, right? Example, suppose if I had a cross between a red flowered plant and a white flowered plant, pure, both the genes are pure, genotypes are pure. In the F1 generation, if I get a pink flower, then that would be called as incomplete dominance. Neither is the dominant character fully visible in the F1 generation, nor is the recessive character fully visible in the F1 generation. Fine, do we get this in here? Right, let's start. So, do we understand what is incomplete dominance? So, I can say that Mendel's law of dominance is not true for all organisms. There are examples in which characters are neither dominant nor recessive, as both the aims of the character, express as a mixture resulting in an intermediate expression. Of F1 hybrid, right? So where both the characters are mixed together and you get your F1 generation. So the expression of the trait, the expression of a trait of two pure parents, as an intermediate condition in the F1 hybrid, right? Neither am I able to see the entire dominant character, nor am I able to see the entire recessive character. In the F1 hybrid is known as incomplete dominance. Right? Incomplete dominance is also called as intermediate or blended or mosaic inheritance. It is also called as intermediate, blended or mosaic inheritance. These are three other names given to it. Fine, do we get this in here? Now, in what actually happens in incomplete dominance? In this type of inheritance, the dominant character, can't suppress the recessive one completely. Right? And hence the heterozygote have different phenotypes. So that is what is incomplete dominance, right? Example, in a plant by the name the 4 o'clock plant, a cross between red flowered plant, and white flowered plant, a cross between red flowered plant and white flowered plant produces a hybrid plant with pink flowers. Produces a hybrid plant with pink flowers in F1 generation. Right? Now, the pink colored flowers in F1 generation show neither red nor white as completely dominant. Therefore, both the colors appear as hybrid, and therefore the mixture is in the hybrid is pink. Right? The pink colored flowers. The pink colored flowers in F1 generation show neither red nor white. As completely neither the pink colored flowers in F1 generation show that neither red nor white is completely dominant. So neither, I don't get any of the colors, or is neither completely dominant, and therefore both the colors appear, and therefore both the colors appear in the hybrid as a which is pink. So that's how you get pink flower. So this is a deviation from the Mendel's law of inheritance, which assumes that no blending of character takes place. Mendel's law of inheritance says that you will get one of the two phenotypes which is present in the parent. But here I am getting a phenotype which is different from the ones that is present in the parents. So that is your deviation from Mendel's law of inheritance. Right? Now, when the pink flowers are crossed, if the pink flowers are crossed, the F2 generation shows plants with red, pink and white. Red, pink and white. These are the three things that the F2 generation shows. White flowers in the usual Mendelian ratio. In the usual Mendelian ratio of 1:2:1. Right? If I were to show this to you with the help of a diagram, then suppose if I have parents in which I have, let's see the phenotype. Phenotype is pure red. You cross it with pure white. Right? The genotype, pure red is going to be RR. Pure white is going to be small r, gametes. Here you would have only one gamete produced of R and the other one will also be R. So in that case I will have F1 generation hybrid. F1 generation hybrid will be RR, which is going to be pink. Contrary to the Mendel's law where it should have been red, only the dominant character should have shown, here you will have pink. Now if I do selfing of F1 generation, let's see this selfing with the help of a checkerboard. If I do selfing of F1 generation, in that case I will have male, female, gametes are RR, gametes are RR. So I'll get here RR, capital R, small r, capital R, small r, small r, small r. So you will get red, pink, pink and white. 1:2:1. Right? So that is my incomplete dominance. Next, let us understand another principle which is a deviation from Mendelian's law, that is codominance. Now what do I understand by codominance? In this, both the characters show themselves in the F1 generation. In incomplete dominance, neither character shows itself completely in the F1 generation. In codominance, both the characters show themselves completely in the F1 generation. Right? For example, if I had to do, first I'll explain codominance to you. Codominance of the coat color in cattle. You have codominance in the coat color of the cattle. Suppose if I take, say, parent phenotype. Assume I take a red coat cattle and cross this with a white coat cattle. Right? So in that case my genotype is going to be RR, this is going to be RR gametes. White, let's assume white as WW, pure, right? Both are dominant characters. Here you would have gametes, that would be R and say W, right? Now in the F1 generation, either I should have red color or I should have white color if I use Mendel's law. If I use incomplete dominance, I should have pink color, but that is not true. What I get here is I'll get a cattle which has a coat of both red as well as white. Both the characters completely show themselves in the F1 generation. Both the characters show themselves completely in the F1 generation. So I'm going to get, this is called as roan, RW. That's the color that I'm going to get in the F1 generation, right? That is what is codominance, where both the characters show themselves completely in the F1 generation. In incomplete domination, you had a blend of both the characters. Here, both the characters in codominance, both the characters show themselves completely in F1 generation, right? Now, if I were to do a cross, if I do, this is selfing of F1 generation. If I do selfing of F1 generation, this is male, female, you would have R and W as my gametes, R and W as the gametes, right? R, W, W, W. So you will get red color back in the F2 generation. This is roan, this is roan, and this is white, right? That is codominance. So when we talk about codominance, what are we talking about in codominance? Where both the characters show themselves in the F1 generation. Neither of the character is dominant nor the other is recessive. Both the characters show themselves completely in F1 generation. That is what is codominance. So what is codominance? I can therefore say that independent expression of the two alleles in an individual is called as codominance. Independent expression of the two alleles in an individual is codominance, right? So in this type of inheritance, the heterozygote shows a phenotype different in form as shown by either of the homozygous parents. In this type of inheritance, the heterozygote shows a phenotype different of different form from that shown by either of the homozygous parents. That shown by either of the homozygous parents. Fine, do we get this? Now, both the genes of the allomorphic pair express themselves equally in the F1 generation. Both the genes of the allomorphic pairs express express themselves equally in F1 generation. So I would have both the characters that would be seen in the F1 generation, right? So in which case I can say that this shows that the heterozygote for the codominant gene expresses both. This shows that the heterozygote for codominant gene expresses both the parental expresses both the parental characters. Expresses both the parental characters equally and independently. Equally and independently. Both the characters are shown in the F1 generation. The F2 generation shows 1:2:1 ratio, both phenotypically and genotypically. 1:2:1 ratio, both phenotypically and genotypically. So both the characters are shown here, right? Example. I already explained the example to you with the help of the diagram, right? Codominance of coat color is in cattle. Codominance of coat color in cattle, right? In this, what would happen is when a red cattle RR pure. When a red cattle is crossed with a white cattle, that's WW pure. Right? Red cattle is crossed with a white cattle. The F1 hybrid shows roan colored skin. And that's your RW, right? And not roan colored skin and not the intermediate pink. So it will show a color where both of them are expressing. What do you understand by roan color? Roan color is actually expressed by a mixture. Roan color is actually expressed as a mixture. It is expressed as a mixture of both red and white hair. Both red and white hair on the cattle skin, right? Which develops side by side. In the F1 generation. In the heterozygote F1 hybrid. So you would have that roan color, right? Now when the F1 hybrid roan colored cattle is crossed, when F1 hybrid roan colored cattle cattle is crossed, what will you get in the F2 generation? The F2 generation produces red, roan and white in the ratio. The F2 generation produces red, roan, white in the ratio of 1:2:1. Right, that is what you will get. Right, the phenotypic ratio coincides with the genotypic ratio. The phenotypic ratio coincides with genotypic ratio. Both the ratios are expressed equal in the same way, right? Thus, the phenotypic and the genotypic ratio are same. F1 hybrids have roan color, that's a mixture of red and white color hairs side by side expressing both the traits equally. The F2 generation has equal, the F2 generation phenotypic and genotypic ratios are identical, suggesting again that both the genes are expressed equally. Since the phenotypic and genotypic ratios are same, which says that both the genes have been expressed equally. Right, the phenotypic ratio coincides with the genotypic ratio, suggesting that both genes are expressed equally. Right, so that was codominance. Next, let us see what do we understand by polygenes. Next is polygenes. Now, there are certain characters that are not expressed with the help of only a pair of genes, but they are an additive result of multiple pairs of genes. For example, the color of the human skin is not expressed only with the help of one pair of contrasting genes, or right, every pair of contrasting genes would add to it, and that's how you would get the color of the skin, right? So that is polygenes. So what is polygenes? In this, it is a type of interaction in which characters show gradation in its expression, and the characters are not determined only by two expressions, but are determined by more gene pairs and have an additive effect. So it is just not, you will get suppose you will not just get white or black skin. You will have a gradation in the skin color, right? You would have different skin color. And how would those different skin colors come? They would not come with the help of only one pair of genes, but with multiple pairs of genes. And all those effect of those multiple pairs of genes would add up to give you a final particular skin color. Fine, do we get this in here? So I can say polygenes. In this type of interaction, characters show gradation in its expression. It's just not that I'll get a character A, that is I'll get a dominant character or recessive character. There could be a gradation of character in its expression, and the characters are not determined by only two expressions, and the characters are not determined by only two expressions. It's just not white or black skin, but they are determined by more gene pairs. But they are determined by more gene pairs, right, and have additive effect and have cumulative or additive effect. Right? They are called as polygenes. Right? So, what is polygenes? It is an interaction of characters where you have gradation in its expression, and the characters are not expressed with only one pair of genes but multiple pairs of genes which add together to give you the final expression. Fine, do we get this thing clear? Now, in this, let us see human skin color. Example, I could give you two examples. I could give you example of human skin color. I could also give you example of the color of the wheat kernel. Right? First, let's see human skin color because that's more easier for us to understand. Human example. Human skin color. Human skin color is determined by melanin. Human skin color is controlled by 3 pairs of polygene. Is controlled by 3 pairs of polygenes A, B and C. These are those 3 pairs of polygenes that control human color. Now, let's try to do a cross and let's see what are the different gradations that I can get. Right? A negro or a dark colored skin is due to 6 dominant contributing alleles. I can say that dark black skin is due to 6 dominant contributing alleles, right? 6 contributing, that means that will be AA, BB and CC. That's my dark colored skin. That will be the genotype for it. And a very light colored skin. And a very light colored skin. If I consider a very light colored skin, is due to 6 recessive non-contributing alleles. Is due to 6 recessive non-contributing alleles. Right, which should be AA, BB and CC. Right? Now, a marriage between the two would yield intermediate. Suppose if I have a marriage between a dark skin colored person and an extremely light colored skin person. A marriage between the two would yield an intermediate. Right, an intermediate, or the intermediate skin color is called as mulatto, right, which would have AA, BB, CC children. Right, now that would be my F1 generation. Now let's come to the F2 generation. Suppose if I had marriage between the mulattoes, right? A marriage between mulattoes would produce 7 different phenotypes and 27 different genotypes of skin color. So there would be 7 different shades of skin color that could be produced. Can produce 7 phenotypes and 27 genotypes. Right? All shades of colors continuously vary as observed in the population. I can say all shades of colors continuous variation as are observed in the population in the ratio of 1:6:20:15:6:1. That is the ratio in which you would have 7 different shades of colors that would be present, right? Where the first one is dark, right? 6 is you would have, one is very dark, not dark, very dark. 6 is just dark. Then you have 15 is fairly dark. Then you have 20, which is going to be mulattoes. That is intermediate between dark and fair. Then 15, the next 15 is going to be fairly light. The next 6 is going to be light, and the last one is going to be very light. Those are the 7 different skin colors that could be produced. So mulattoes produce produce 8 different types of gametes. Mulattoes produce 8 different types of gametes, and a total 64 combinations are possible. Total 64 combinations are possible, right, in the population of the F2 generation. In F2 generation. But the phenotypes are of 7 different types due to the cumulative effect. But the phenotypes are of 7 different types. But the phenotypes are of 7 different types due to the cumulative effect. Of each dominant gene. Due to the cumulative effect, this is what I will get, right? So I would get a pure black, that's a Negro, in the ratio of 1:64. I would get, a less black, that is a dark brown color skin, in the ratio of 6:64. A fairly dark skin would be in the ratio of 15:64. Then I would get mulatto in the ratio of 20:64. Fair 15:64. Very fair 6:64. Pure white, that is an albino, in the ratio of 1:64. Fine, do we get this thing here? So if I were to look at this ratio, what you will see is that if I plot a graph of this ratio, you would get something called as a bell-shaped curve, where you have minimum at the two extremes and maximum at the center. Fine, do you get this? I could give you another example also. Wheat color. Let's see another example. Wheat kernel color. Let's see the wheat color. Now this was discovered by Nelson A. Nelson and he found that the red kernel variety of wheat, red kernel variety of wheat. If I cross this, is crossed with white, variety. The F1 generation grains will have an intermediate color between red and white. The F1 generation had grains. The F1 generation had grains with intermediate color. Between red and white, right? So you had an intermediate color between red and white. And the F2 generation, 5 different phenotypic expressions appeared. Sorry, in F2 generation, 5 different in F2 generation, 5 different phenotypic expressions appeared in the ratio 1:4:6:4:1, right? Instead of just the red, intermediate and white, I had 5 different ratio. Now the gradation of the wheat color was from, now where the first one is the dark one is the darkest red, then the 4 was medium red, the 6 was intermediate red, then you had the next 4 that was light red, and the last one was white. Right? So in wheat, the kernel colors are controlled by 2 pairs of genes. Now let's see why did we get this. In wheat, the kernel colors are controlled by 2 pairs of genes. That's your AA and BB. AA and BB. Right? Gene A and B determine red color and are dominant over the recessive alleles A and B. Gene A and B are dominant. Gene A and B are dominant and determine red color. They would determine the red color and their recessive alleles, A and B determine white color. Express white color. Right? So as a result of which, if I were to graphically show this to you, this would be, if I show you graphically, this would be parent phenotype. Parent phenotype would be red kennels crossed with white kennels. Right? The genotype will be AABB and white would be AABB. Right? Here the gametes will be AB and here this will be AD. Right? So in that case my F1 generation hybrid will be AABB. Right? Now if I have selfing of F1 generation, if I had selfing of F1 generation, then in that case I would have male, female. Now the gametes that will be produced is AB, 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 AB and AB. Same kind of gametes here. AB, AB, AB and AB. So this would be AA, BB, right? Here you will get AA, B and small b, capital A, small a, capital B, capital B. Then here you would have capital A, small a, capital B, small b, right? Then similarly you could go on completing the checkerboard this way: AA, BB, AA, BB, AA, BB, AA, BB. That would be the next row will be AA, BB, AA, BB, AA, BB and AA, BB. Next will be AA, BB, AA, BB, AA, BB and AA, BB. That will be your checkerboard pattern. That will give rise to 5 different colors. Fine, do we get this thing clear? So, do we understand this? Thus, each dominant gene produces a specific amount of pigment and the shade color, right? And that's the reason why there is a continuous variation in the expression. Fine, do we get this in clear? Okay, we'll stop this here for the day. Thank you very much.